Hello and welcome to Views on News. I am Jawad Tehami. Pakistan has retaliated to Iranian breach of its airspace and sovereignty by launching precise and targeted strikes inside Iran's Sistan-o-Balochistan province and hit the terrorist targets. Now, there is a statement that has come from Pakistan's military media wing, Inter-Services Public Relations. Let me quote it. Pakistan carried out effective strikes against hideouts inside Iran used by the terrorists responsible for recent attacks in Pakistan. The precision strikes were carried out using killer drones, rockets, loitering munitions, and standoff weapons. Maximum care was taken to avoid collateral damage. Hideouts used by terrorist organizations, namely Balochistan Liberation Army and Balochistan Liberation Front, were successfully struck in an intelligence-based operation codenamed MARG SARMACHAR. Pakistan armed forces remain in a perpetual state of readiness to ensure safety of Pakistani citizens against acts of terrorism. Our resolve to ensure the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Pakistan is respected and safeguarded against any misadventure remains unwavering. We reaffirm our determination to defeat all enemies of Pakistan with the support of the people of Pakistan. Going forward, dialogue and cooperation is deemed prudent in resolving bilateral issues between the two neighboring brotherly countries, unquote. Also, there was a statement that came from the Foreign Office of Pakistan which said a number of terrorists were killed in this precision military intelligence operation, MARG SARMACHAR. This action was taken in light of the credible intelligence of impending large-scale terrorist activities by these so-called SARMACHARs. The Foreign Office further added that this action is a manifestation of Pakistan's unflinching resolve to protect and defend its national security against all threats. The successful execution of this highly complex operation is also a testimony to the professionalism of Pakistan Armed Forces. Pakistan will continue to take all necessary steps to preserve the safety and security of its people, which is sacrosanct, inviolable, and sacred. The Foreign Office, in its statement, has further added that over the last several years in our engagements with Iran, Pakistan has consistently shared its serious concerns about the safe havens and sanctuaries enjoyed by Pakistani origin terrorists, calling themselves Sarmachars on the ungoverned spaces inside Iran. Pakistan also shared multiple dossiers with concrete evidence of the presence and the activities of these terrorists. However, the lack of action because of it on our serious concerns, these so-called Sarmachars continue to spill the blood of innocent Pakistanis with impunity on the ungoverned spaces which are present in Iran. Also, the sole objective of today's act was in pursuit of Pakistan's own security and national interest, which is paramount and cannot be compromised. Guided by the principles of the United Nations Charter, Pakistan will never allow its sovereignty and territorial integrity to be challenged under any pretext or circumstances. Expressing respect and affection for the Iranian people, the Foreign Office further said, "We have always emphasized dialogue and cooperation in confronting common challenges, including the menace of terrorism, and will continue to endeavor to find joint solutions." Also, we had seen earlier that after this particular Iranian breach of Pakistan's sovereignty and airspace, Pakistan had recalled its ambassador from Iran and had also asked the Iranian ambassador, who was currently visiting Iran, to not come back to Pakistan. And also the all high-level visits between the two countries were suspended. And Pakistan's Foreign Office earlier, after this Iranian aggression, had said that Pakistan reserves the right to respond to this illegal act of Iran. We'd also seen the US State Department had earlier condemned Iranian breach of Pakistan's sovereignty. On the other hand, China urged both the countries to show restraint following this incident. This major development up for discussion in today's Views on News, for which we'll be joined by an esteemed panel of guests. We are honored to have been joined in the studio by Brigadier Retired Shahid Jagir, Senior Analyst. Brigadier Jagir, thank you very much for your time, for being with us on the show tonight. Really appreciate that. Also, in the studio, we are honored to have been joined by Mr. Sarfraz Ahmad Rana, foreign policy expert. Mr. Rana, thank you very much for your time also, for being with us on the show tonight. We really appreciate that. We'll be joined by some other very important panelists later in the show. I'll be introducing them as they join in. Let me begin the discussion with you, Brigadier Jagir. Now, this particular response by Pakistan to Iranian unilateral and illegal aggression, breaching Pakistan's airspace and sovereignty, how important was this retaliation on the part of Pakistani side?
Thank you very much. First of all, I would say that it's a very unfortunate incident which the Iranians have striked within the Pakistani territorial in Balochistan. The aim and objective on the face value is to strike the terrorist hideouts. But no international law, United Nations Security Council, neither the New World Order allows any independent country to take on a unilateral kinetic strike against another country, which is irrespective of its size and military strength. One. Second thing is that Iran is a country with which we have very strong diplomatic relations, very strong bilateral military relations, very strong bilateral means of communication of intelligence. So, it is very surprising that Revolutionary Guard has taken such an act at its own, probably not thinking the end state, because Pakistan is not Iraq, Pakistan is not Syria. Pakistan is a country of which has a credible deterrence full spectrum. If anyone wants to test our resolve, we have shown it in February to India, where they hit us in the dark hours. We hit them back during the daylight and shot down 2 of their aircrafts. So, that is a resolve which the Pakistan has for its territorial sovereignty. So, I am unable to understand that why the Iran should go for this type of action against its brotherly neighbor country. One. Second thing is that why should not these things be communicated on the 3 level which I have told, and especially when the Prime Minister was there at Davos, where all the world leaders were there. It is absolutely not understandable. The third thing
isn't it ironic that, as you mentioned, the Prime Minister Anwarul Haqqaqi was there in Davos, and he had a meeting with the Iranian Foreign Minister also. In that particular meeting, the Iranian Foreign Minister actually expressed that very satisfaction of expansion of the relationship with Pakistan, and also thanked Pakistan for its sympathy after that horrific attack that took place in Kerman. Isn't it ironic after those statements, this sort of an aggression?
Absolutely, you are absolutely right, and I was about to say the same. You have taken the words which I wanted to express, that on the face value, Iranian representatives which met with the Prime Minister were very warm, very welcoming, and very friendly. But within a minutes of that, something happens which is exactly 180-degree opposite to that. So, that is very surprising. The third thing which I wanted to discuss with you is the geostrategic environment that is prevailing in the Red Sea due to Gaza, in Yemen, in Lebanon, in Palestine. So, will such type of actions will aggravate the issue? Then see the impact on the world. All the flights which come to the South Asia, they fly over Iran to enter into Pakistan and India. Now, there is a check on that, by we have to maintain this check. So, Pakistan had to respond. There was no option but to respond, to tell them that if you can hit our targets in saying that the terrorist hideouts, we can also hit in a much more better way, precise way, avoiding the collateral damage, killing the credible people. If you read the ISPR statement, they have given the name of BLA and BLF people. So, that means that that was correct.
And they have also additionally given the name of those notorious terrorists which were present in those hideouts.
They are the heads. They are the heads of the organization.
So that makes us understand how precise that intelligence was at the hands of the Pakistani armed forces.
You see, when we caught the Kulbhushan Yadav, who confessed that he was in Chabahar doing the business of jewelry, a serving naval officer, and he was the one who was running a network in Balochistan of raw. So, we did not go to that level which the Iran has gone at this time to this level.
Jagir, your point is well taken. Very comprehensively, you've shed light on so many aspects of this particular crisis that is just unfolded after that very cordial and warm meeting between Iranian Foreign Minister and Pakistan's caretaker Prime Minister in Davos. Let me proceed to Mr. Rana. Mr. Rana, when we talk about this particular retaliatory strike inside Iran after Iranian aggression in the breach of Pakistan's sovereignty and territorial integrity, Brigadier Jagir is of the view that there was absolutely no other option. When we specifically try to analyze the timeliness of this particular retaliatory strike, what's your understanding about that?
Thank you for having me in the show, Jawad. First of all, I would like to begin with, that's very unfortunate that, between two countries, which are Muslim countries and brotherly countries, whose relations are quite complex, given their cultural interdependence, their historical, warm relations. So that's quite unfortunate, and all the strategists and all the experts of IR and foreign policy experts are still wondering, how they could, go to that extent, given that situation when the entire globe and international community has been completely captured by the massacre and the genocide in Gaza is taking place, right? So, as the Brigadier mentioned, right, first of all, that is the clear violation of the United Nations Charter, right? The Article 2 says the sovereignty of any country, no matter the size of the country or the nation, has to be protected and respected, right? So, if you disrespect the sovereignty and if you violate the international law, so there is a price you have to pay. And I would say, as you asked me a question, that was absolutely a pragmatic approach on the side of Pakistan, right? And this is how the sovereign and nuclear nations behave, and that is called as a strategic realism, right?
Is it even more concerning and surprising, rather, as the Foreign Office said yesterday in its statement, it said that despite several channels of communication available, it was more concerning that Iran resorted to this act of aggression.
Yeah, there are certain, set of assumptions that why and how Iran would, conduct such an irresponsible act, right, when there was no need. And So yes, of course, as a Prime Minister and their Foreign Minister, of course, they have the multiple channels and they could cooperate, they could negotiate, and they could even convey. And even in the past, I mean, Pakistan has raised multiple concerns over that, that terrorist organizations. And even Pakistan raised concern, and Pakistan has been cooperating on certain things, right? And taking up Iran's concerns seriously. So yes, why not? I would add, further couple of points. Number one, that Pakistan's international prestige has been increased. I mean, the way Pakistan has conducted responsibly, and as you mentioned, that the kind of precision and that intelligence-based operation that even Iran and their state television has confessed that all the people who are killed in that strike, all those were foreigners. None of them was basically Iranian, right? And also another thanks to Iran, that Iran has completely diverted the attention of the international community from Gaza to that that instance.
So what's the point? What's the motive behind diverting the attention from Gaza, especially when there is genocide of such a huge proportion going on at the hands of Israeli regime of the innocent Palestinians in Gaza, and the staunch backer and the ally of Israel, the United States, continue to point fingers right from the outset of that particular conflict towards Iran? Don't you think the pragmatic approach at that particular time would have been for Iranian authorities to gain more friends rather than going against with that country which happens to be such a close brotherly country with you?
To my understanding, I mean, I could assume two scenarios. The one scenario is probably they have miscalculated and they had underestimated that Pakistan would not respond in this way, the way Pakistan has responded earlier today, number one. Number two, of course, 2024 is going to be a crucial year. Why? Because I have written a couple of things, right? It is going to be a global general election. It is an election year in Iran as well. So probably, by doing that kind of stunt, are probably, they probably, want to make or score certain, political things at domestic level. Probably there could be two things: miscalculation. They have underrated Pakistan probably, and they have not perceived, and they have not seen such kind of response coming all the way from Pakistan. And and other thing is, of course, probably election years in Iran.
Right, Jagir, as you already also mentioned, there is a talk, this very pertinent question being raised all across by every single person, that why would Iran go to an extent of going to this aggression against Pakistan, especially given the fact time when there is genocide going on in Gaza and there are multiple fingers being pointed at the international level towards Iran being involved and backing the resistant group over there that was responsible.
Exactly. This is a question which one would like to look for an answer. One, they have underestimated. Yes, I agree. But a professional army underestimating the other is not a professional army. One. Second, the timing which you have said, absolutely right, that as I said, that we are not Iraq, we are not Syria. We are the country which has the nuclear weapons, which has a conventional military which is ranked 10th in the world. So, taking up this action, when people will come on the table, they will definitely find out that what would have been the reason. But it is naturally irrational, unthoughtful in the longer sense, in the longer term, and action taken without realizing that what would be the end state.
The consequences, right. So, after this particular Iranian aggression happened, there was a prompt response from Pakistani authorities. The Pakistan's Foreign Office recalling its ambassador from Iran, asking the Iranian ambassador to not return to Pakistan, suspending all high-level visits between the two countries which were either ongoing or which were planned in the coming days. After this prompt and very timely response by the Pakistan's Foreign Office, don't you think the Iranian authorities even miscalculated at that particular time, and they could have the option of coming up with an explanation perhaps, or a public apology at the diplomatic level. But the kind of statement that came after that by the Iranian foreign minister actually invited this particular response for Pakistan going inside Iran and hitting the terrorist targets.
Look, our response, I think, was a very wholesome. Diplomatic response was that we called our ambassador back. We tell their ambassadors not to return back. Then the cordial relations which we had, we cancelled all that. And then there was a military, because they had hit our area. You should, nobody in the world should expect that if they will hit Pakistan's, in Pakistan, there will be no response from the armed forces. What are the armed forces for? It is their duty bound to ensure the territorial integrity of Pakistan. So, I'm very happy personally that we choose our time, we choose our target, which were absolutely credible, and we choose the weapons to be used to avoid the collateral damage. That shows that how professionally we conducted this operation. And then my hats off to all those who planned it in such a short time, and the military preparedness that on ground, because it takes time from a decision to action. It takes time. The time, everything was so well coordinated that it was flawless. As far as the conduct of this operation is concerned, I think it's marvelous. But having said that, the question remains that should an independent country should conduct, like I give you an example. We have the problem with Afghanistan.
Jagir, if I see your pardon for the interjection over here,
Please.
I'll come back to you to resume the discussion and take your view on this particular thing that you're already talking. For now, we are joined by a very important guest in this show, Ms. Mumtaz Baloch, Spokesperson Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Pakistan. Ms. Baloch, thank you very much for taking time out for Views on News tonight at PTV World. We really appreciate that. So let me begin with this. Has there been any sort of a diplomatic contact between Pakistan and Iran after Pakistan's precise response to Iranian aggression?
Thank you so much. First, I would like to underline that our operation MARG SARMACHAR was not targeted against the government, the people, or institutions of Iran. It was focused attack, and it was targeted against a terrorist hideout, and we believe these terrorists are a common threat to both Pakistan and Iran. Pakistan and Iran are close friends and neighbors. We have several channels of communication, including the respective embassies that remain functional, and there are also high-level contacts between the senior officials of our ministries of foreign affairs, and these contacts are also functional, and the two sides are engaged with each other.
Right, Ms. Baloch, now we have also seen after this particular aggression by the Iranian side coming into the Pakistani territory, there was a sense that prevailed in China also. It urged both the sides to show restraint, and it has also offered to mediate in de-escalating this particular crisis. How is Pakistan going about this particular Chinese offer?
Yes, thank you. China is a trusted friend and partner of Pakistan, and we understand that they are concerned about the current situation, and we appreciate the offer of friends like China to help resolve this situation. However, we believe that Pakistan and Iran, they are neighbors. We have several channels of communication, and we have the ability to overcome such challenges that arise from time to time. And we are confident that with our mutual will, we can overcome the current situation through direct dialogue and consultation.
Right, Ms. Mumtaz Baloch, Spokesperson Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Pakistan. Thank you very much for taking time out for Views on News tonight. We really appreciate that. Brigadier Jagir, now there are several channels of communication, and she made it very clear that this particular precision strike by Pakistan inside Iran is neither against Iranian people, nor it is against the Iranian government. It is actually against those who are actually a common threat to both Pakistan and Iran.
Yes, before we got the Foreign Office spokesman online, we were discussing the same thing, that Pakistan conducted operation against the terrorists, which are BLA people, Balochistan Liberation Army and Balochistan Liberation Front. Had Iran would not have gone for this extent, Pakistan would definitely not have gone there. You know the situation in Balochistan. Despite all this problem, Pakistan has never, even intruded or fired a single bullet across in Iranian territory. But when this attack came yesterday, the nation was very, in trouble. That how will be with the friendly neighboring country we respond? But the armed forces of Pakistan, as they are very clear that irrespective of anything, Pakistan territorial integrity would never be allowed to violate. So a message has been given to Iran that if you hit in our area based on your intelligence and hit a mosque with a couple of children, we have the intelligence, credible intelligence, have the capability to conduct an operation which is specifically for the terrorists which are against Pakistan. So this message conveys further sub-messages to Iran that one, let's sit down and talk to each other. Ball is now in the Iranian court. I hope the sense prevails and we do not escalate the ladder of
that's very important point that you just mentioned. I'll come back to take your detailed view regarding as to what options Iran, particularly at this point in history, has regarding de-escalating this particular crisis. Mr. Rana, now, do you think Iran could have avoided this particular retaliatory strike if a better sense prevailed earlier after Pakistan pulled out its ambassador from Iran and suspended all the high-level visits between the two countries, and could have come either with an apology or some sort of an explanation rather than giving that statement that has come forth by Iranian Foreign Minister?
Yeah, I do agree with you that there was no need to conduct such an irresponsible behavior. And also very important thing, as Ms. Mumtaz Zahra has mentioned, that of course Pakistan's response was not against the people of Iran, or Pakistan's response was not against the state of Iran. And Pakistan restrained having the credible information, and Pakistan has not violated the sovereignty of Iran. And when Pakistan had seen a kind of irresponsible act from Iranian side, so Pakistan has basically had no choice, and Pakistan was compelled to conduct this kind of counter response to Iranian irresponsible behavior. And yes, I mean, this could have avoided, as I mentioned earlier, that Pakistan has been cooperating even in the past on those concerns, Iranian concern, and Pakistan has even shared those concerns with Iran, and Pakistan has even helped captured some of the important and key militant organizations sharing the information and intelligence information with Iran. So of course that could have been avoided, and that could have been resorted or resolved through through political channels and diplomatic channels. Yes.
Right. So after this particular scenario that has been built right now, do you think this particular crisis could go into further escalation if better sense doesn't prevail over there in Iran?
No, what I foresee, I don't foresee. It is highly unlikely that this is going to this is less likely to escalate from a certain point. Of course, we had seen why, because recently in August 2023 we had seen that Pakistan and Iran had signed an agreement with each other to boost their trade to $5 billion, right? And they had also pledged to remove all the unnecessary barriers, trade barriers. Plus, they are basically working to ensure the free trade area between two countries, Iran and Pakistan. So I don't think so that this is going to escalate from here onward.
Right, Brigadier Jagir, the kind of response Pakistan has given to Iran. Now, how do you foresee the things happening bilaterally when it comes to this particular crisis that has unfolded over the last couple of days?
Look, Pakistan and Iran should know that they are interconnected. Geography cannot be changed. Problems are always there between the nations. As I was about to give you the example that we have the problem with Afghanistan as far as the TPP is concerned. But Pakistan has never ever, despite having much more credible information about the TPP there in Afghanistan, we have not gone.
And also, given the fact that there are de facto authorities present over there.
Absolutely.
Not a legitimate government.
Not a legitimate authority. We have not gone. So, I'm a very positive man and hope that a better sense will prevail. Both sides will sit together and Iran will come up with some sort of, patch, should take the first step to patch up the thing, because we are here, Iran is here. The people, those who are enjoying this thing, you see the Indian media and they were, very jubilant. Had it had been the Israel also, if it not have been involved in the Gaza. So Pakistan has been a very, very strong player in between in bringing closer the Iranians and Saudis. Pakistan has been very crucial player in bringing China into Afghanistan. So it will not gain anything to Iran if these things escalate. Although the probability is very low, but the probability is there. It will have serious consequences on the situation in South Asia and the Middle East. It will have a serious consequences for the Gaza battle which we are fighting. It will have serious consequences on relation between the Muslim countries. So it's not only a matter of 2 missiles striking at a place or 3 missiles striking at a place. The stakes are very huge, both for Pakistan and Iran. And if we want, as my friend has said that, we want to go for free trade, probably in this environment it will not be possible to go for that.
There was an expression of desire by Iranian Foreign Minister Hussein Amir Abdullahian in his meeting with Pakistan's caretaker Prime Minister, that he desired the bilateral trade volume to increase from around $2.5 billion to $5 billion.
Yeah.
And this happens right after that.
That's what I say, that Iran higher hierarchy should be very clear. I don't want to say that there is a miscommunication or something of that sort, but taking such type of unilateral actions, it always points to one thing: the short-sightedness of the people, those who are giving the decision for that.
Right. Brigadier Jagir, now let's go a little back in time for yesterday when Iran resorted to this particular aggression. After Pakistan gave a prompt response on the diplomatic level, what were ideally the options at the hands of Iranian authorities at that particular time? What should have they done after Pakistan pulled out its ambassador, asked Iranian ambassador to stay back there, and also suspending the high-level visits? So what ideal options were there that if they really wanted to de-escalate the situation at that particular point?
As our Foreign Office spokesman has said, that we still have intact our foreign channels of communication with them. The ideal would have been that they should have contacted. You know, every country has the overt means of communication and the covert means of communication, which are known as the backdoor channels. So, if Iranians wanted to avoid that thing and escalation of the thing, they would have immediately come up in communication with the Foreign Office, one, with the intelligence channel we have, military channels we have. So, any channel or the backdoor channel, any channel could have been activated, and the things would have diffused. I still say it is still time that those communication channels must be activated by Iran and should come on the talking table and resolve the issue, because it not only have a military implication, it has the repercussion for aviation, which are because all flights which originates from Europe and Turkey pass through Afghanistan, pass through Iran to come to South Asia and Asia. So this has a repercussion of that. Then, if the things escalate, the Straits of Hormuz and the Red Sea, it will definitely have a repercussion on that. The oil will again go up. The naval merchant ships will charge much more insurance for transportation. So all these things you need to have in mind before you take such a decision.
Right, Brigadier Jagir, there was one point mentioned by Mr. Rana earlier in his take. He was of the view, perhaps, because year 2024 happens to be of crucial importance as far as global elections are concerned. Now, when we talk about the domestic politics of Iran, do you agree with what Mr. Rana has said, that perhaps this particular miscalculation or misadventure was carried out based on the assumption of, appeasing some certain elements domestically to have that very leverage in the upcoming elections there?
I think it must be a bogey trick which they probably played, because when you go for such type of action which has a repercussion, you always calculate, and especially at that level, you calculate so precisely, and the probability and the outcome and the far reaching effects of that. If this could have been the reason, I doubt the leadership level. I'm sorry to say this word, but they are thinking Pakistan, like Iraq, as I said earlier, like Syria, like any country of the Africa. Pakistan is not that.
Right. Mr. Rana, could you shed a little bit more light on this particularly very important point that you've made? Do you really think it could be the result of that particular domestic factor that you've already mentioned? If we talk about India in particular, okay, so we naturally understand there could be some sort of an action like by a certain political party, as we've seen in the recent past, playing this particular card domestically to gain that leverage in the general elections. Does that particular thing holds water for Iranian case?
From the perspective of international relations, Jawad, when we see the foreign policy analysis or when we make the foreign policy analysis, so there are multiple levels of foreign policy analysis. For example, domestic level of analysis, regional level of analysis, leadership analysis, and international level analysis. So why not? Of course, the individual level analysis or the domestic level analysis, could be one of the possibility that they have basically probably inspired by this motivation that probably we do something like, we conduct some strikes in Iraq, in Syria, and Pakistan as well as in Pakistan, right? And we give that kind of power projection that, you see the growing confidence, strategic confidence of Iran in the region, and Iran is becoming a Chaudhry of this region, right? So that could be a possibility, and that is an assumption, right? Number one. Number two, as we were talking about the economic factors, currently with this irresponsible act of Iran, Iran single-handedly, has basically now you see that that geopolitics has superseded the geo-economic side. We are talking about the 5 billion trade, free trade, and all those things, all those good things between two countries, right? So now we see the heightened geopolitical tensions in the region as well as in Pakistan. But what are the positive key takeaways for Pakistan, right? Number one, I would say that after 1991, it is one of the, that's the the first time that any other country other than Israel that had conducted such a effective, precise and coordinated strikes, deep into Iran. That is of course the international embarrassment for Iran. Number two, right? Pakistan has clearly signaled and indicated to Iran and to all other regional countries that now there is a no appeasement policy. Clear signal to Afghanistan, clear signal to India, and we have of course indicated and provided a one signal to India back in 2019. Number two. Number three, this situation would not escalate. Situation would calm down. Why? Because Pakistan and Iran, they both are much in common. For example, right? Trade, same geography, cultural relations, historically warm relation, and most importantly, I would say that Pakistan and Iran are the active member of Shanghai Cooperation Organization. And as we have seen, that Turkey and of course China has extended some good hands. That,
okay, I'll come to this particular point. Of course, three very important points that you've just made. Now, when you talk about that particular that sense perhaps that might be prevailing at this particular point in time among the Iranian leadership of growing strategic confidence with their strikes carried out in Iraq, Syria, and here in Pakistan. Also, the kind of fingers being pointed towards them of their involvement over there in Gaza as well as in the Red Sea. Now, do you think Iran can afford to have so many fronts opened at the same time in this particular region?
Jawad, let me allow
to just get that growing confidence of a strategy or the strategic confidence.
Yeah, I got you. Jawad, just allow me to say, responsible states do not act this way. I would say that that label and that frame which is already being tagged on Iran of being rogue state, I'm sorry, that is being reinforced, right? Conducting multiple strikes in the region in Middle East, right? What kind of message you are basically trying to convey?
Right, your point is taken. Now, very quickly, we have seen Ms. Mumtaz Baloch in her earlier take saying that Pakistan and Iran are neighbors, and we have the ability to overcome such challenges bilaterally. So when you talk of Pakistan and Iran being the members of Shanghai Cooperation Organization, also China offering to...
And also Turkey.
Right. Now, in the light of this particular statement, that this particular challenge could be overcome bilaterally, the role of Chinese mediators, how crucial that could be as per your understanding?
Why? Because if you see the Belt and Road Initiative is one of the important things that basically glue many countries together. right? Many countries together. For example, China has invested almost, is planning to invest almost, China and Iran had signed a $400 billion, agreement recently, right? And of course, China has a great and significant amount of stakes in Pakistan through CPAC, right? So of course, if something happen or something goes wrong, right? So of course, Chinese stakes are quite high. So therefore, any tension or longer tension or prevailing tension between Pakistan and Iran does not suit the Chinese economic and strategic interest of the
Your
region.
point is well taken. Brigadier Jagir, very quickly, can Iran afford to open so many fronts at the same time in this particular region?
No.
And secondly, about the Chinese role over the...
I don't think that it can afford that. And very rightly said that Iran has a very big stakes with China, which has invested about 400 billions document they have signed. So if this is the right time, and China is the upcoming superpower, so it is better that it should mediate between the, if required. Ideally is that both these countries should sit together, because we are brothers, we are neighbors. And if not, China can play an important role, and Turkey can also play the important role. That I say, not only the Iran, the world cannot afford the escalation of this incident, because it has much bigger implication than anyone would have thought. Right. At the face value, it seems that a couple of missiles are fired by Iran, a couple of missiles have been fired by Pakistan. But seeing this thing, although the probability is low, but the probability is there. You cannot say that probability is zero. But as I said, the sense should, the better sense should prevail, and things should patch up.
Right. Brigadier retired Shahid Jagir, senior analyst, thank you very much for taking time out for Views on News tonight. Really appreciate that. In the studio, we were also honored to have been joined by Mr. Sarfraz Ahmad Rana, foreign policy expert. Mr. Rana, thank you very much for your time, also for being with us on the show tonight. Really appreciate that. Let me conclude today's episode once again by quoting the Inter-Services Public Relations that speaks volumes about the kind of readiness and the precision the Pakistan Armed Forces have in thwarting such misadventures, because they exactly knew with that credible intelligence at hand that which groups were based in those hideouts, and to an extent that which notorious terrorists were hiding over there. Let me quote it once again. That hideouts used by terrorist organizations, namely Balochistan Liberation Army and Balochistan Liberation Front, were successfully struck in an intelligence-based operation codenamed MARG SARMACHAR. The targeted hideouts were being used by notorious terrorists, including Dosa alias Chairman, Bajar alias Sogad, Sahil alias Shafak, and Asghar alias Basham, and Wazir alias Wazi, among others. With that note, we come to the end of today's Views on News. Thank you very much for being with us.